film, but really what it is the focus is genre, and every once in a while they'll bring in something that kind of breaks the mold a bit. But the only films that really aren't genre films that play are things like Japanese films. And they kind of fall. Tim Lee considers them to fall into a genre all their own.
So what are we going to see, like Tentacled Vagina Fest?
No, actually, I don't think there are any. They never bring any hentai, nothing like that. But you do see a lot of weird stuff. There's one film that I just watched last night, which is a 4-hour epic comedy romance called Love Exposure. And it's a weird film. It's the first film I've ever seen that the credit sequence rolled 58 minutes into the film.
What?
58 minutes in, the credit sequence started. And it's a 4-hour film, so it wasn't even like, oh, you're showing this halfway through. No, you're not even halfway through yet. It was an endurance test. It was interesting. It wasn't painful, but it was a weird film that I think some people are really going to like. It's a novel put on screen. It is a long story about a boy falling in love with a girl and all the crazy fucked up shit that happens, going from him kind of imprinting on himself at a young age what he was looking for in a woman, and ultimately finding her and trying to win her. And in between there's just an abnormal amount of weirdness that sounds cooler than it is when you try to explain it to someone, but totally works.
Yeah. No, it's that sounds horribly boring, man.
Okay, well then let me win you over, Corey. I'm going to make you see Love Exposure.
Okay. It depends on what kind of love they're exposing.
The guy who in question becomes a world-renowned panty photographer who learns martial arts and uses martial arts moves to snap upshot pictures of Japanese schoolgirl panties.
Oh, I think I know that form of martial arts, panty fu. I got that down, man. I got a black belt in that shit, 3rd degree. No, this is okay. So this is the kind of movie that you can expect at Fantastic Fest.
Well, yeah. This is an abnormality, but
well, no, because I'm about to explain and you've heard of this movie. That
you talking about the Human Centipede?
The Human Centipede.
Man, I need to get that screener. I've been hearing about it for a long time, and I really want to check that movie out.
This is the 3rd time tonight I've heard about it. And just to give you an idea of what to expect from something called the Human Centipede. Now, you're thinking Human Centipede, it's a genre movie at Fantastic Fest. It's about a guy who probably has 2 arms and maybe 16 legs, and he's a mutated man. No, it's not that. It's about a German scientist who takes 3 people, I think a man and 2 women, and sews them together, like from intestinal tract to mouth, to where they're one long organ or one long organism, like a human centipede. And so, all right, now listen to what I'm saying here. They tie the intestinal tract, which has to come out of somebody's ass and be sewed to another person's mouth, which means that somebody's going to shit in somebody else's mouth, and it's going to pass down from that person, and they're going to shit in that next person's mouth until that person pretty much takes everybody's shit and shits it out their ass.
Oh, well, that's what we call Wednesday nights around the Spill Studio. I mean, let's be honest here. That's not so weird. At least that's what you keep telling us.
And you know something? There's only 3 of us because...
You just never have a camera in the room.
Well, as you know, there's 4 humans on the Spill crew, and there's only 3 people sewn together because we have to leave a 4th person to unsew us after when Thursday comes around. So it's...
and we draw short straws for that one.
Oh, yeah, we all take turns. Okay, who's going to get the mouth shut in this week? Oh, okay, I guess it's my turn. No,
it's actually, the sad thing is that people don't want to fight over who has to be what we call the DD, the designated driver.
Well, what did you have for lunch? Okay, spaghetti, I can take that, fine. All right, sushi, okay, fine, I'll gladly take your shit today. No,
No, not the spicy chili.
Yeah, we had a fucking large pizza with meat toppings on. Oh fuck! All right,
It's burrito
I drew
time.
the short straw. Jesus Christ! But it's that is probably I've heard one person say
Well, we just
that
lost half the audience. They've turned it off.
they like enough of this shit. Is this like we've had that first time listener who's like, is this what I can fucking expect to hear from these guys every goddamn week? Fuck this, I'm gone. So, but I heard from some people saying, hey, you know what? I've seen a lot of weird movies at this festival alone. I've seen some weird Japanese shit. I've seen crazy porn from Germany. But this shit here, it has got to be the most bizarre and disturbing thing I've seen.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and you know what? With an endorsement like that, I want to see it. And there's even a part in there where this guy is crying. He's like, because he's so full, you know, hey, he can't help it. He's got to take a shit, and it's gonna come out no matter what. And so he's like crapping in this other girl's mouth. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And the other girl's like, ooh, and the professor sitting there is like, yes, feed her, feed her. And I was like, Jesus, man. You know, I've been to some crazy parties, but goddamn.
And this is a Japanese film, right?
No, it's not. That's what my question was. I'm like, oh, this has definitely got to be something from Japan. And like, nope. I think it's made by an American. Or at least maybe a German. And Germans can do some crazy shit too. I've heard about porn films and eels with them. So I don't know.
Well, it's eels and octopus and...
Jesus, man. You know something? If you thought about it, somebody's done it out there. This is a disturbing ass world we live in. But if you can get that, that's the one that I hear that it's not a good movie. It's just something that has to be seen to be believed.
Yeah, let's see here. No, I guess it is an American film. Oh, wait, no. It's made in the Netherlands, UK.
Oh, okay. You knew it was something.
And it's in English, German, and Japanese.
Okay, so the Japanese were involved some kind of way.
Somehow.
You knew they were around there somewhere, sneaking around doing that crazy shit. So yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get that screener, though.
That screener came up after I got a bunch of other stuff. I have a lot of stuff that other people don't have, so.
Yeah, I would recommend that you go, you watch that, and then you rinse your mind off by going to see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs after that.
I don't know if I want that combination because what you're going to do is you're going to show me a film about people who are sewn together and shit into each other's mouth, and then send me to a film about food. Really? That's how you want me to see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? And I think the whole time I'll be sitting there going Sprinklins with a Chance of Meatballs, perhaps.
Hey, let me tell you something. If you really look hard enough, now I kept the review innocent. I did not go that far with it, but there was a moment in that movie where if you look at it hard, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs I'm talking about, if you look at it with the twisted enough frame of mind, you're going to say, okay, that thing right there looks like a giant sphincter in the sky. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Okay, that you've totally ruined the film for me now. I'm going to think about Human Centipede the whole time I see that fucking movie. Holy shit.
Welcome to A Couple of Coleman's, ladies and gentlemen. Corey and Carla.
Corey and Carla. Oh, yeah.
So have you had any other interesting screenings? Although I don't think you could top that one right there.
I can.
Okay. Oh shit!
I could top the shit out of that.
Oh my god!
I have seen a film that is one of the better things that will show at this festival. It is a very, very good film. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm so glad to have the screener because I will watch it a couple of times again.
Can I take a guess?
Go for it.
Bronson.
No.
Oh, okay.
I am about to tell you
Outlook Terrace?
Who directed this film, and you won't believe me.
Okay.
It is a film called Rampage, directed by Dr. Uwe Boll.
Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Is this the Rampage based from off of the video game?
No. It's not based on... That's the thing everybody thinks is because it's based on a video game. No, in fact, that's what... He wrote, directed, and produced this film.
And you liked it?
I liked it a lot.
Wow.
It is It is not your typical Uwe Boll film. It does not look like an Uwe Boll film. It doesn't feel like an Uwe Boll film, but it clearly is an Uwe Boll film. It is really, really good. If you watch Uwe's films, there's a recurring theme. He's very down on America. He thinks we're a bunch of overfed, cheeseburger-eating, ignorant morons.
Well, we are, but what's his problem?
Love Michael Bay films. Because he believes that we don't have actual taste in film. And so he's been feeding us this steady diet of shitty films for years. We've been insulting him. He finally turns around and he makes a really great film that's all about America. And what it is it's about this guy. He's about 22 years old. He's kind of a burnout. Things aren't going well for him. His parents want to kick him out of the house. His boss won't give him a raise. His life is just kind of shitty and lonely, and he's just constantly agitated. And at about minute 25-30 in the film, he puts on a suit of body armor, takes a bunch of guns, goes downtown, and starts killing everyone. And the rest of the film is him on this bloody rampage through his small town, just murdering people in horrible ways.
Okay, now some people would argue and say, that sounds a little bit exploitive.
Except the thing is it's not a slasher film. And it's not an exploitation film. And as the film develops, it's got a real, genuine plot. It's got something to say. It's not a perfect film. There's a few flaws that I'll discuss in a moment. But it is a really good film. He knows where to take breaths and to take breaks and kind of pause the action so it doesn't become a steady staccato of gunfire. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, get a chance to take his digs at our culture. And he's not off the mark. He has a lot of just interesting comments about America, about the type of country we are, and about our arrogance as a country. But by the same token, he also creates this character that you both hate and admire as the film goes on, because he's not just your average kook. And he's a very interesting character to watch develop. And as you get to the end of the film, you're like, wow, that is not only the best Uwe Boll film I've seen, that's a good little movie. I like that. It's a very cool flick.
Okay, you got me sold. I will see this.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going. I would really have anything to say, but while you let me say something here now, I will. I've never seen a Uwe Boll movie, not one. Haven't seen one film of his, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is a good time to see my first Uwe Boll film.
It actually is. That's exactly what happened with my wife. Was we popped this in, and I had completely forgotten it was his film, and it comes up and it goes Rampage, and we're like, okay, this is what we're gonna watch, and then it says a film by Uwe Boll, and I'm like, oh shit, honey, you want me to take it out? And she's like, no, keep it in. And I didn't realize I had completely sheltered her from everything Uwe Boll. She's never seen one. So as a result, this was her first experience. And after we got to the end, I really liked it. I'm like, okay, you know what? I gotta find out. Am I insane on this? And I talked to her and I'm like, would you watch it again? She's like, yeah, I definitely watch it again. It wasn't a great film, but I'd watch it again. It was good. And so I was like, that's exactly how I feel. So I know I'm not alone on this. And other people online have seen the film play elsewhere and have reacted really strongly to it. And Tim League really likes this film. He thinks that it's time for people. He had booked it, as far as I know, he booked it sight unseen because he's like, I love having Uwe Boll here. We know he's going to have a really fun Q&A because he's coming with the film. But he watched it and he really loved it and wrote up a glowing review online that I highly recommend you don't read because it's really heavy on the spoilers. But all you need to know is that it's an Uwe Boll film. It's actually worth seeing, and it's about a guy who loses his shit. It's a really fantastic little film. Now, the flaws in the film are twofold. The first one is that there's an actress in the movie that who plays his mother, and she sounds like she's ad-libbing. So some of the dialogue in the film may be ad-lib, but all the other actors are able to pull their own weight, except for this woman who constantly ums and ahs.
So when you say ad-libbing, it's like she can't figure out. She's not clever enough to figure out the next line.
Like she is, but her pause in between is like, and it's something you don't hear in films and is really irritating when you hear in films.
Yeah.
But she's not a main character. She's just there briefly, and you'll notice what I'm talking about. You'll be like, yeah, she does sound like she's ad-libbing. And the other problem is there's a final title card at the very end of the film. The film is over, and Uwe puts up a title card, and the title card sucks. I hate the title card. It's unnecessary. It's spoon-feeding the audience, and I hope to God he cuts it before he puts final. Because the film is really, really great up until that, and you're like, oh, come on, man. Really, you want me walking out with that?
It
come
says,
on.
the end. Or is it?
No. It's like, and then blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah.
And he went on to be president of his village.
And it was something that we already knew, and we didn't really need to know. It tells you a little bit of information that you really don't care about. The film ends exactly the way it needs to end. It's perfect. You don't need to put that title card up because the ending is great. It's one of those things where when you get to the end, you're like, oh, fuck me. That was fucking cool. So yeah, Uwe Boll is definitely not the worst director in the world anymore. He has proven that he can when he wants to, or by pure accident, direct a film that is highly entertaining. That I cannot say that he has not had cinematic worth because he has now put out one good film.
Well, I've always had my thoughts on Uwe Boll, not having seen any of his films, but hearing about them, I've always thought, man, this guy is just shitting these movies out for a reason other than he just makes bad movies. I mean, somebody who is consistent with this and is giving money knows that they're making bad films, and either doing this as a joke or they're trying to work, maybe saving his money and trying to work towards making a really good film. And that just reinforces my thoughts right there about him. And I even heard like kind of cool things about Postal, that was a movie that he wasn't serious with, but I heard a lot of people say like, hey, you know what? I really expected this to be terrible, and it was actually a fun film.
It's not terrible, but it's not good. There was one really good joke in the film and one mildly amusing joke, but the rest of the film really fell flat and was over the top. Yeah. This movie did everything that Postal wanted to do without being funny, and actually said everything Uwe wanted to say in Postal. He managed to get it all out in this one film. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where the idea came from, where he's like, well, fuck, I'm just going to make a film about the violence and satirize America that way. And sure enough, he did it perfectly. Okay. And it's a really good film.
And the movie's called Rampage.
Well,
I'm glad you told me ahead of time, because if I probably would have hated the movie if you hadn't told me what it's about, because I would have cut it on expecting like a giant gorilla and a giant lizard tearing up a city like that video game, because that's what he's done so far. He just made video game movies, really bad video game movies.
He has. Now, my favorite film that I've seen is a film called Fish Story. Now, you have to see this, Corey.
Why is that?
Because it's fucking great. I love this movie. This movie may be in my top 10 of the year. I absolutely adore this film. It is a Japanese film that is set in 2012, and a comet is coming and going to slam into the Earth, and it's going to slam into the ocean and create a tsunami that's going to completely wipe out Japan. Japan's fucked. And there's a guy wandering around the city, and he sees a record store open. And he's like, what the fuck is a record store doing open? He goes in, and the clerk and the customer inside are going about like nothing's wrong. And he starts, kind of berating him. He's like, don't you know it's the end of the world? What are you doing? And the guy behind the counter believes that the world's going to be saved. And he kind of alludes to the fact that he believes the world is going to be saved because of a punk rock song. From that point on, the film jumps around in 4 other time periods, 1975, 1982, 1999, and 2009. And it spends its time going through and showing a series of events that may or may not lead to the Earth being saved as a result of a punk song. And it's really fucking good.
I don't think I've heard about this in length, but I've heard about this movie before somewhere, like some news story or something. So, I mean, maybe the movie's getting popular and I heard about it from somewhere. But anyway, so it's really good, though.
It's really, really good.
It sounds confusing.
What it feels like, it's the best way to describe it is it's kind of like a cross between Donnie Darko and Magnolia, in which you're given all these pieces and see how they kind of weave together. It really feels like a a Richard Kelly movie, but a good Richard Kelly movie. But it's got that kind of Paul Thomas Anderson magic to it. It just really, it feels like a fusion of those two styles together in something of a science fiction film. And I say something of a science fiction film that just proves to be really, really awesome. I just love it. It's such a human film. It's very profound, and it's just beautiful. It's eloquent. It's such a great movie. I want all four of you guys to see this movie really badly, so we can all sit around and talk about it, because I want people to see this movie. It's called Fish Story, and it is the best thing that I've seen out of this stack of 24 movies.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I heard about a film called I think, okay, I might have it wrong. It's either called Overview Terrace or Outlook Terrace. Have you heard of this?
The name sounds familiar. I haven't seen it.
I heard.
Let me look it up right now. I'm checking on the Fantastic Fest site right now. But what did you hear?
I heard that it was like one of the best movies they had seen at that festival. It was like a Guy Ritchie movie without all the Guy Ritchie tricks and novelties. And I heard like it's about a crime family that's in decline, and they said it was very touching. It has a lot of the cast from that British series Spaced.
Oh, Down Terrace.
Down Terrace. Okay, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I heard from Mark Savalov was telling me this. He's like that is the thing that you need to go see. Out of anything that you see at that festival, Down Terrace is the one that you want to go to.
Oh, I need to check that out. I've actually kind of brushed that one aside.
Yeah, I think it's about a British crime family, and it's just what happens to them as they start to lose power. And I don't know anything about it, which is kind of cool because it just piques my interest a little bit more. I know it's showing on Friday, so I'm probably going to go check this out. But
there's another Guy Ritchie-esque movie playing, actually.
Which one is that?
Crazy Racer.
The hell is that?
It is an insane Hong Kong film about a guy who's a cyclist, a professional cyclist, a bike racer, whose life kind of gets messed up, and as a result, he ends up mixed up with a whole series of incompetent criminals who are all kind of whirling around one another in one shape or form in all these bungling things that keep playing into one another. And just like a Guy Ritchie film, comes to a head in a spectacular climax of fuck-ups. And it's a really fantastic film that's really visually sharp. It's beautiful. It has that Guy Ritchie flair. There's some really cool camera things they do that I really like. And it's, in fact, if you watch the Fantastic Fest trailer, it's the one that has the flying Zippo lighter that leads to a whole series of just crazy. It's a really messed up, cool little film that's very reminiscent of a Guy Ritchie movie.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm making a list right now of shit I could see.
You need to see Yatterman.
Human Centipede at the top, of course. Yatterman. What the hell is that?
The new Mickey film. It is based on the old children's show Yatterman. And
I saw a big expo about that. That doesn't interest me too much at all. It looks really goofy.
Yeah, it is really goofy, and it's really goofy for an hour and a half, and then in the last minute and a half, Mickey totally brings it around and makes it a profound film. Okay. It's really a strange one, but I really kind of dug. It's essentially Yatterman. For those of you not familiar with it, it's an old, I think, 70s era show that spawned a lot of these things that you would come to know as like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And this is like one of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But this was based
on, it was a manga and a cartoon, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw 20 minutes from this, and I have to say the parts I saw just a little bit too goofy for me. So I wasn't too crazy about seeing it. But hey, I'm not going to judge a movie about 20 minutes. I'll watch it and see if it's cool. I mean, if people come back and say that was a really badass film, I'll go see it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I really kind of dug it where it went. It's an interesting one. That's just it's a delightful sugary bowl of cereal, and it knows it, and it plays it the whole way through. Mickey is like really what's interesting about it is this is like G.I. Joe for them. This is a big deal that it's getting a live action film adaptation, and that a big name Japanese director is doing it. But it's a Japanese director known for doing a lot of crazy shit, and he plays it straight and gives the audience exactly what they want. There's even a blatant, I've never watched the show, and I could tell that this was a cameo sequence, because they have a cameo of what's clearly the actors who played the initial 3 villains in the TV show, all sitting there getting soup, and it's one of those, it's like, wow, okay, I get this.
But we're talking about Takashi Miike, who's done a lot of adult fare, and this is almost his, this is his children's film.
Yes. And it's got some sexual innuendo to it. So, someone in a review said that it's kid friendly, and I'm like, are you out of your goddamn mind? There's some blatant sexual innuendo here. It's not really totally kid friendly, but it's definitely not rated R. It's definitely not anything you'd expect out of Miike.
Well, I think in the country that's from, I think a lot of things that passes like adult here, it passes children's fare over there. I mean, I think
yes.
Yeah, I think they got like a show with Barney with his penis hanging out or something. So, over there, that shit is fine.
Yeah, but that's called the Corey Coleman show.
Hey, kids, where you going? Don't come back.
You gotta touch Corey's Wee Willie Winky. It's the magic Winky hour.
All right. I'm not a molester. I just like to, put on little puppet shows for kids. So you want to go ahead and get some email right now? Because we are approaching close to an hour here.
All right. How about some Twitter questions, my man?
All right.
Okay. I just got to read this one because it wins the most pretentious question of the week award.
Okay. I got to hear this.
Yeah, because it's pretty pretentious. Someone who normally has really great questions, and I got to bust his balls for this. It's Tom G25, and he asks, favorite Kurosawa movie? I can't decide between Akiru, Rashomon, and Seven Samurai. So Corey, what's your favorite Akira Kurosawa movie?